everybody. Can y'all hear me? Hey, did the music stop? I can't tell. Actually, that can. Oh, yeah, it did stop. Okay, good. Some live streaming stuff I'm still getting used to. How y'all doing? Hope everybody's good. Happy Wednesday. Um, Greetings from a beautiful fall morning in Wisconsin. I'm in Milwaukee. So yeah, today this is I'm trying to do this every month. If in the comments, if you could just give me a thumbs up, make sure you can hear everything okay. That would help me out. I think everything's all set. Check one thing here. There we go. Okay. All right. So like I said, I want to try to do maybe the last week of the month, focus on a tune. I did it with Beautiful Love, I think, for the first one. I think that was the first one. And I'm just picking different tunes that are good to know. And I specifically am picking tunes that are good vehicles for just, well, they're all good vehicles, but especially, standard tunes from the standard repertoire, Cole Porter, Rodgers and Hart, those types of things, and jazz tunes as well. But today I want to focus on the tune Just Friends, which is an old classic. I mean, countless people have played this, recorded it. I just did it on a gig the other night, so it's still played today. And I don't keep these super formal. I more want to treat it maybe as a bit of an exploration combined with, showing you things and whatnot. So, as always, I can see your comments. By the way, when I look over here, that's my screen. So if I'm sometimes talking and I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm looking over at the screen to make sure everything is looking good. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them as best I can. I try to keep this to an hour if I can. But please, if I'm doing something and you want an explanation, I'll try to do that. Also, I'll just let you know, I've let my mailing list know, but I have started to teach private lessons. There's a link down below if you want to check it out. It's been really fun. It's basically kind of like this setup with Zoom, and students have been really enjoying it, and I've been really enjoying it because I haven't taught privately in a few years, and it's been fun to get back to that as part of what I offer here. So if you feel like doing that, check out the link below. Okay, let's get into this. I'm not going to get too much into the background, historical, who wrote it, whatnot. I mean, who did write Just Friends? Let's see here. Look at me, I'm failing. That's right. Klenner and Lewis wrote this. I don't know when it was written, probably in the 40s, because Charlie Parker has a very famous version of it. So I'm going to, this is kind of the layout of what we'll do. I'll play through the tune, just pretty simply, just so you can hear it. I'll play it so you can see the lead sheet. And then we'll kind of go through it and analyze what's happening. And then we'll talk about things you can do with improvisation. And then I'm going to offer some recording recommendations. So that'll be the basic structure here. Let me just turn this on. I got some notes right here that I want to make sure that I can look at. Yeah, so right off the bat, this tune is great because it offers some things that are already, like right when the tune starts, there's some interesting harmony happening. So it offers some different looks at some chords that might be deceptive. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that I have a remarkable tablet. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't turn off every time I try to get away from it. Okay, there we go. There's that. This is really fun for you guys, I'm sure. And yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. I think we're all set now. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We got it. Okay. Okay. So let me play through it for you. Let me find there, that's good. Everybody see the lead sheet? So this is the tune. Whenever you're starting out, first thing you want to do is, before you do anything, is what is the overall form? Okay? This is a 32-bar tune. There's some very common song forms with standard tunes. There's AABA, there's AAB, there's A and B. There could be AAB, A and B. There's a lot of different variations. AABA and C, sorry. But this one it's two sections. And the two sections are pretty similar, like Autumn Leaves. No, not Autumn Leaves. Sorry. What am I talking about? I'm blanking. Of course, when we get off here, I'll think of like 20 tunes that do this. But this is an example of A, B. And the sections are quite similar until the second sections of each section. So basically the last, what was that, 6 bars or so. That's where it changes. But everything before that is pretty much the same. So it's A, and then B is kind of the variation of A. That's the form. 16 bars of A, 16 bars of B. The original, I believe, is in the key of G. I play this in G. I sometimes like to play it in A flat, like Barry Harris played it in A flat with Sonny Stitt. But I'll just play through it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so that's a little bit of hacking my way through the form. So let's kind of talk about what's happening here. I thought we'll start out with analyzing the tune, and then I want to first of all simplify the harmony a little bit, and then we'll make the harmony more complicated. Let me grab my iPad here, and actually let me grab this table. This is a little easier. Yeah. Jesus, sorry. It's like bloopers with Tim here. There we go. Just makes it a little easier to write. Okay, so, and we'll do this a little bigger. All right, so here's the tune. We're in the key of G. If you've seen videos I've made or seen other teachers talk about this, you've heard us talk about diatonic seventh chords, knowing your key signatures. This all comes to light in here, and knowing your dominance is so important, 5-to-1 relationships, and we're going to talk about some different kind of dominance on this. So we're in the key of G here, and right off the bat, we start with the C major 7 chord. If you know your diatonic 7th chords, we're starting on the 4 chord, which a lot of these tunes do. After You've Gone is another tune that does this. Here, why don't we do that in red? There we go. So we're starting right off the bat on a 4 chord. Now this is immediately in these first 4 bars. There's things where you can either learn it one way or learn it the other, and you can be taught it one way and taught the other. A lot of times when we're starting out, we talk about the 2-5-1 progression. If you see a minor 7 going up a 4th to a dominant, or down a 5th, but just say up a 4th, C minor 7 up a 4th to F7, that could signify a 2-5 of a key. If we look at this in that way, we're going to say that this is a 2-5-1 in B flat major. Okay? So some people say this is an example of borrowed harmony. So we went from the key of C here, and then we went to the key of B flat here. I don't really think that's not how I look at this. I think that can lead to, maybe it's a quick way to see it analytically, but I think, well, another thing too is there's no right or wrong. You know, people learn what they learn. That's why, and jazz musicians, there's no set way of learning things. So one jazz musician may see a set of chords and analyze it in a way that makes sense to them. So this is what makes sense to me. So it's one of these things where you can kind of take it or leave it, but I'd like to offer a different way to look at this, the beginning of this tune. So yes, you could say this is borrowing from the key of B flat. I just want to erase there's more room here. I'm not trying to take away the composer's credit here. I just want to have more room to write. Okay, the way I would like to look at this, I mean, I'm sure everybody in the comments has listened to the Beatles. You know, like, let's just stay in G. There's a tune called I'll Follow the Sun. I'll follow the sun, and though my time has come, so my love I must go. The key of G, what's happening on that bridge? You're going to the 4 chord, and then you're making the 4 chord minor. Back to 1. We've heard that a lot. Okay? The way I see this, if you if you're going to simplify the harmony, and just for now, I'm going to erase some things and I'll bring them back. I see this. 4 major to the to the 4 minor in its most basic form. I don't have the original sheet music, but that may be closer to what the sheet music is. I don't know that for sure, but a lot of these tunes, when they were first written, they were written much more simply than the way we play them as jazz musicians. Key of G, the first chord, C major 7. It's almost like a C minor 6. Okay? 4 minor 6. Now, this is where the dominant comes into play. And I'm just showing you this on this tune. What I would like is, you can do this with any tunes you're learning. Like try to simplify the changes. So if you look here, C minor 6. Okay, we have G, A, C. Minor chords and dominant chords are related. If I put F in the bass, I get F9 or F7. They're related. C minor 6 is also F9 or F7. You can just keep it simple and say F7. Okay? Just move that down a little bit. There we go. Oh my gosh. There we go. Oh my God. Hold on a second here. Let me do this. Okay, for now I'll just do that. You can see the F9. Technology, man. C minor. Okay, so there's what we have so far. And then we finally resolve to the G. Now this is why this is important. You always have to look where chords are going. It's going to the G. We finally, after 4 bars, we made our way to the 1 chord. That's why this tune is fun to play, because it starts right on the 4 chord, so it adds some interest. Adding more interest now if we did this and made this F7 or F9. Okay? Now, I want to talk about how we can make this into this original thing that we saw, which was, which was the C minor 7 to F7. Now, some of these things, I should go back. I don't know the technical term for some of this stuff. Plagal, whatever it may be. I really should go back. I'm not condoning, or I'm not encouraging you not to know these things. But sometimes simpler language is just okay. So we went from to this. Okay, well then how does this work? Okay, so this is why I don't think of it as a 2-5. Okay, I think of it as 4 major, and then this dominant, I made a video about this, about the different kinds of dominants. Some people call this a backdoor dominant, or I call it a common tone dominant. What it means is, we're in the key of G right here, okay? The F7, whenever you see a dominant chord, maybe I'll link to this video as well. It's called The 5 Different Dominants. It's a great video to check out because it shows you the different dominants based on how they resolve. When you see a dominant 7th chord, me grab a sketch pad here. When you see, okay, here's a dominant 7th chord. And it's going to resolve up a whole step. A lot of times it will be like a dominant 7, sharp 11. And I'll show you why that is. It's not a 5 chord. We've always been taught 2-5-1, 2-5-1. Whenever you see minor 7 to dominant, it's 2-5-1. This F7, it's not a 5 chord. Why? Because it's not going to B flat. F7 is normally the 5 of B flat. Okay, if I went, just use your ear. Let me show you this. Here's the first 4 bars, and again, I apologize for my handwriting. C minor 7, C major 7, C minor 7, F7, okay? If I were going to treat this as the 5 chord going to B flat, this doesn't sound right. C minor 7. It's a cool reharm, but that's not the tune. I went the 4 chord of G. Now I didn't treat this as a 2-5. It's not a 5 chord. This is not a 5 chord. This is a flat 7 dominant going to the 1, which is a whole step. Resolution. It's going up a whole step. So what we see here now, if we do this as a sharp 11, this is resolving up a whole step to G major, to the 1. Sorry. Up a whole step to G. And we'll get to that in a minute. Oh, thanks, Jerry. Oh, is the volume soft? I can turn it up a little bit. Yeah, let me try this. There we go. Let me just fix this here. I can do this. I got this little effects thing I can do. Where's that mix tool? How's that sound? Is that any better? Is that too loud? Okay, let me know if it's better. I can always adjust it if it's too much. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, thanks for telling me that. It actually sounds better in my headphones too. Thank you. Okay, so this is a common tone dominant, the F7. Okay, why is it a sharp 11? Okay, here's F7, just root 3rd 7th. The sharp 11 of F7 is B. Why do I call this a common tone dominant? Well, what is B the 3rd of? G major. So it's not just this tune. Any tune that you see a dominant 7th resolving up a whole step to a major key, it's a common tone dominant. It's not to say you can't add alterations. You could flat the 9, but the reason the dominant 13 sharp 11, which indicates a natural 9, a 13, and a sharp 11, here's why this works too. Okay, F7. There's your sharp 11. Here's your 9. Here's your 13. Okay, these 4 notes, it's a G major triad with an added 2nd. You can hear how that F7 wants to be pulled to the G by using all of these common tones. Say it with me. Okay? I'm going to get rid of the C minor 7 and just play F13 sharp 11 on that bar, the third bar. Common tone dominant. What is this thing called Love as an example? It's in the key of B flat. The bridge of key of C major, but the bridge goes 2 5 1 B flat, then it goes down to that A flat. Common tone dominant. That's a different tune we'll do down the road, but okay, that's why that F7, it's not a 5 chord. What if I played it as a 5 chord? Let's say I'll do like because on a 5 chord you can, if you haven't done my 2-5-1 course, also in the link below, we talk about 2-5-1s and we get into all the alteration possibilities of a 5 chord. So let's say I treated this as a 5 chord and made this a dominant 7 altered. Just to show you, this doesn't sound right when you resolve to G. If I'm thinking of F7 as the 5 of B flat, it doesn't really want to lead you there. It wants to go to the B flat. So that is my very long-winded explanation for this dominant chord. I promise we're going to get through the rest of the tune. But does that make sense? Maybe some thumbs up, or just let me know if it makes sense. Now let's keep moving on. This is another example of, you could look at this two ways, and I do look at this, these chords right here. I look at these chords two ways. They're related. Well, let's skip ahead actually. We're gonna deal with the B flat major in a second, but let's just talk about this. We've been talking about the difference between 2s and 5s. I'm also going to go back to the C minor 7 in a minute. But we know we're in the key of G. This actually is a 2-5-1 because A minor 7 is the 2 of G. This is why knowing diatonic 7th chords is so important. Okay, so this is the 2 minor 7 of D. It goes to the 5, and we do indeed resolve up a 4th or down a 5th to the 1. 2, 5, 1. If you were going to look at that in the circle of fourths, okay, there's your C, there's your, what am I doing? That's a D, that's a G. What am I doing there? G, D, A, E, B, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. Okay. We go this way to give us fourths. Jazz musicians, I like to think of them in fourths, okay? A minor 7 goes up a 4th to D, goes up a 4th in the root movement to G. Doesn't mean you can't go down a 5th to go to G, but when you look at this root movement, when you're analyzing tunes, you can see that this, you're going up a 4th to D and up a 4th to G. Make sense? All right. So this is a 2-5-1 in the key of G. All right. Now, and then here we have a 6th chord, which is a diatonic 7th chord. 1 and 4 are major 7, 2, 3, and 6 are minor 7, 5 is dominant, 7 is half diminished. There's a reason for that. It's a key signature. All right. The one thing I want to do here also is this chord change here. People play this both ways. I personally, I don't do the chords in parentheses here because I save them for the second half. And I think maybe the original way goes to the 1. So we're going to treat this as the 1 chord for this video. So we'll get rid of that, okay? So let me just play that third line starting, my gosh, starting right there. Okay, we'll make our way to the A9 in a minute. Because once we analyze the first half of this, we've pretty much covered most of the tune. Before I go on, though, I want to deal with this C minor 7. Why that can work as a C minor 7. This is where you could get confused and say, like, well, you're about to tell me something that does imply the key of B flat. But it could also imply what I'm talking about. Okay, so C major. Oh, that's great, Jerry. I'm really happy to hear that. Jerry says, now I understand the difference between an altered dominant and a backdoor dominant. Fantastic. So that first chord is C major. C minor 7, it just works nice because we deal with 7th chords. And like I had said, you can always just play the dominant instead of the minor before it, but just playing a minor 7 before a dominant, no matter what the function is always a really nice option. So if you have a dominant chord, if you can play a minor 7 a fourth below just to add some harmonic interest. And if we're talking with scale choices, which we'll talk about in a minute, we're talking about C Dorian. And the reason Dorian works, you got your 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat, natural 6, flat 7, 1. The reason this works over, let's say, like a natural minor or something is because, again, these tones are kind of common to the key of G. You always got to try to keep the key that you're in mind. So the C is in the key of G, the D is in the key of G. We need the E flat because it's the third of this chord. The F is not in G, but F is important, the natural 11 to be with minor. The 5th is G, which is the key. The A is a 6th. This is the 2nd degree of the key of G. That B flat is in there because that's the flat 7 of a 7th chord. You need the 3rd and the 7th, and then the C. That's why that works. And it's just to add interest rather than just going, which is really pretty. Sometimes I'll do that. 2, also nice. But when you add this added minor 7th chord a fourth below, it just makes it more interesting. Okay? Let's move on to, let me clean this up a little bit. I appreciate y'all bearing with me. I'm still getting kind of used to doing this. It's still a little bit wiggy for me to do a live stream, like I'm just talking to the camera, but I'm getting used to it. I hope it's okay. Let's talk about this. What is that all about? Well, let's simplify it even more, like we did with the first one. I'm not going to go as crazy in depth, but what we could do here we could start out with just calling, there's the G major. I made that a B flat minor 6. Okay, which, like we said before, B flat 6 is also E flat 9 or E flat 7. G major, second line there. Or G major, E flat 7. Again, if you have a dominant 7th chord, you can simply add. You could even just, even though it's not a 2/5, you could just say like I'm adding the 2 of that dominant, but it is a fourth below. It's kind of, it's the same thing, even though it might be a little, just a different way to say it. B flat minor 7. Now I can view this two ways. I will sometimes play this B flat minor 7 also as a dominant 7 sharp 11. Dominant 7 sharp 11 chords are super powerful because they're not directly 5 chords, but a lot of times they're tritone substitutions of 5 chords, or like they're a common tone chord. This one is kind of related to A7. It's also related to D7 because it can slide down a half step. G major, because we are making our way down to D7. That's one way to think of, so the sharp 11 of E flat is the A. A lot of these same tones of like E flat 13, they share a lot of tones with G major and A minor 7 and D7, which is all part of G major. You got your third, which is well, it's the root of G. You've got your sharp 11 over E flat, which is the second. B flat is part of E flat major, of E flat 7. There's your 13. That's the fourth of G. Flat 7's got to be in there because it defines the chord. That's the 9. That's not part of G, but it fits in with the chord. But again, if you resolve it to G, it gives you a nice little resolution. Or down to A minor 7 in the next line. So it creates movement, okay? That's one way to think of it. I normally play this as a sharp 11 with the idea, but sometimes I'll treat this as kind of a chromatic 2/5. If I went, just stayed in G the whole measure and then went A minor 7, D7, G, it's just adding nice interest. And I'm adding this chromatic down to the third line there. It's just a nice chromatic sidestep. So you could briefly treat that as the key of A flat, because the 2 chord of A flat is B minor 7, B flat minor 7. The 5 chord is E flat minor 7. And then it goes down to A. I'm going to just play real briefly so you could hear me treating it as both. Here it is as playing a B flat Dorian, then going to like a dominant 7 sharp 11, which is the first one. I'm just going slow. B flat minor 7. That's the sharp 11. If I did it as a chromatic 2/5, so be briefly in E flat, so I would be treating this kind of as a 5 chord. That can work too. They both work. I'll do both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Okay. So let's keep making our way down here. Like I said, we're not going to do that. Let's talk about this E minor 7. That's a 6 chord. One general rule of thumb, on 3 chords and 6 chords, you can always make them dominant. Well, basically on any tone, really, except the 7, except the sharp 4. But these can all be secondary dominant. So I like to turn this into like E7 altered or something, okay? Now what's up with this one? The A9. Okay, this is a 2 dominant. This is another example. I think I used to call this a squatter dominant. Like it's staying, it's just like, it's staying there until somebody has to move it. I don't know. I don't know why I called it that. This is the take the A train chord. Whenever you see a dominant seventh chord that starts on the 2, it's creating movement to get you back towards the 5, which you'll actually see right here. And I'm also going to make that a minor 7. We can get rid of those. So if you look at this movement, this is a 2 dominant. It's resolving to the 2 minor to give us the 2-5. But it does another 2-5. We'll do it in a minute. Let's just deal with this little section there. We went from A7. It has to resolve the same root to minor 7. Now, the 2 dominant also is a dominant 7 sharp 11. Here's why. If I just played A7, that's perfectly fine. You can play that over a 2 dominant chord. And then you resolve to the A minor 7. The reason the sharp 11 is really nice, it's the same exact scale I just played. This is just A mixolydian. If I sharp the 11, the reason the sharp 11 is nice, there's no deep meaning behind it. It's simply giving it movement when you go to the minor, rather than there's a natural 11. Plus, you get that rub, which I like, but hey Tim, thanks for sharing your time. Any thoughts on an intro? Yeah, that's a great question. Say what 445? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna remember that in a minute. The question was, any thoughts on an intro to this tune that start on a 4 chord? I will definitely get that for you right now in a second. Let me do this line and then I'll do that quick. Okay, so we got A major, A dominant 7 sharp 11. The sharp 11 just gives us a nice place to resolve. Take the A train. The melody note's got a sharp 11 in it. 2 dominant, so we got C major, D7, which is the 2 of C, and then we go D minor 7. This is what's happening here. Let me go from this line right here. 5, 1. And then all that's happening here at the end, we're doing a 2-5 to G, but then right here, we're doing a 2-5 to bring us back to C. A minor 7, 2-5 of G, 2-5. So this is a secondary dominant because there's no G7 in the key of G, but there is because G7 is the 5. Jesus, let me clean this up a little bit. Going crazy with the red pen. Okay. G7 is the 5 of the 4. A9, that measure right before, that line right before B. Okay. They have D7 written in here. I don't think I've ever played with anybody that plays it as D7. Most people I play with do this. A minor 7, D7, 2-5 of the 4. Okay, now if we look, we've really covered pretty much all the tune. The only one that's different is right here. So if you look at this line, Remember I had crossed out the G. So that line goes. Okay. This line here, what we add is a 2-5-1. It's a minor 2-5-1, except it doesn't go to the tonic minor. It goes to the sixth, which I treat as it's like a key of the moment. We went to the sixth chord to set up, going back to the 2 dominant, 2 minor 7, 5, then back to 1. Okay. So if I play that second to last line where that little squiggly is, D7, and we finally made our way back, and then that last measure sets us back up to go to the top. Real quick question about an intro. Whenever you're setting up a 4 chord, you can kind of do whatever you want, but something I like to do, you just want to, so this is the question of the intro. Like I could do a pedal point over D, maybe like 1/5, like a 5 sus. But what I want to make sure I do then is do a 2-5 to set up the 4. The key is setting this up with some sort of 2-5. You know, I could go I'll do like a sharp 4 diminished walk down. 2, 5, 1. So you can do an intro in the key that we're in over G, but just make sure before we get to the tune, you got to set it up with a 5 or a 2-5. The 2-5 is nice because it's more obvious. I mean, I could just go, I'll do 1-6-2-5. Three. See how I set it up with the 2-5 of the 4? Makes sense? Okay. All right, we got a few minutes. Are there any other questions anybody might have? Let me make sure I haven't glossed over anything. I see some returning folks. Really, really cool that you're here. Firefly, how are you? Marla, fantastic. Middle of the measure, thanks for being here. Jerry, say what, 445, thank you. Does anybody have, you're welcome. Does anybody have questions so far? I didn't really get too much into improvisation stuff because there's only so much we can cover, but I did want to offer a few cool little things. Sorry, the mic's there. Let me talk more into the mic. Let me just clean some of this up here. This is getting into a little bit of a more... Bruce, great question. So yes, let me just clean this up and I will answer that. The question was, when you're improvising over a dominant 7, sharp 11, okay, Montez, is it right, Montez? Let me get to that too. The question from Bruce is, when improvising over a dominant 7 sharp 11, what do you think in? Melodic minor harmony? Yes, I do. So I'll go back to that F7. F7 is the 4th degree of C melodic minor. If I play C melodic minor starting on the 4th degree, that's how I'm thinking about it. You can also simply, if you have F7, if you know Mixolydian, it's got that B flat, you can simply raise it. People call this scale the Lydian dominant scale. So yes, I think of it that way, as melodic minor. And sometimes, though, I just think that I'm in G and I'm playing an F7. If I'm thinking in G, the key of G kind of, the notes that I need make up that scale. But yes, F Lydian dominant. Makes sense? Montez 707, addressing that 7th and 8th bar, I tend to hear diminished there. What about you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yes. Let's see. I mean, sure. That sounds good to me. I've done that too. Are you more specifically wondering about the dominant, or just the whole thing? I mean, that works for me. Depends how dissonant you want to get. Again, I'm never one of these. I mean, there are times I'm like, you have to say what's right and wrong if somebody's trying to learn how to play. The diminished will offer a lot of the. Let's see. What I got this. Yes, Wes does the diminished. There you go. So I think that the diminished works well too, because I assume we're talking about the half whole, right? Right? If we do the half whole scale, the E is in the key of G, the F sharp is in the key of G, the G is in the key of G, the A is in the key of G, the B flat is part of the E flat chord. So these are a lot of common tones in G. That's a great one. Thanks for mentioning that. That's great. Thank you for that. I hope that answers that. I got to go back and check out that West recording. It's been a minute. I have to listen to that. One last thing I wanted to just mention. This is kind of a cool, just a bit more of a, I don't know, modern. That's kind of a funny thing, but there's places where you can replace 5 chords with a flat 2. Like when I'm comping, I hear diminished after the G. Oh, you just reminded me of something, Montez. Right here, a cool thing as a comping instrument you can do on a major, on a 1 chord. You can start it as a basically a diminished with a major 7, then resolve to major 7. Here's the top. Whoa. Diminished major 7, resolve down to the. That's a great sound. That's right. Yeah, Stella. That's a great sound. You can also make it a major 7 sharp 5. You can do that on all of these. You can make this a major 7 sharp 5. You want to make it kind of sound like Richie Byrock or something. There's a major 7 sharp 5, which is great. And here, if on the 5 chords, you could play a flat 2. You can make these major 7. It's like a flat 2 resolving down to the 1, and then this is basically a flat 5 resolving down to this chord. Like if you hear this. Second line. Here's the A minor 7. Okay, I'm kind of going off here in a different direction, but I think we're gonna stop there. Was that helpful? I don't remember what Wes recording. Let me look here. I wrote down some recordings, but I forgot about the Wes Montgomery recording. Let me check here. Um, let's see. Well, I have to look. If I don't want to spend too much time. If you guys can list the Wes Montgomery recording in the comments, I didn't put that in my list of recordings, and I think I should have. But I did want to offer some recordings that I've checked out. Charlie Parker with strings, his version of Just Friends is not only sublime, it's very, very ahead of its time. And I mean, his linear language in that is incredible. And that whole record, I think it's some of Charlie Parker's best playing because he was so happy to be recording with strings. So that one, Chet Baker Sings, that's one I've always liked. Sarah Vaughan with the Count Basie Orchestra, that's a version I've always dug. Pat Martino, the guitarist, got a great record called El Hombre, which has a nice version of Just Friends. When Marsalis live at the House of Tribes, that's a good version. And Joe Pass does a really nice solo guitar rendition of this. There's lots of versions of this tune. George Cables does a great version. Oscar Peterson does a great version. I could list a ton, but these are the ones I thought of off the top of my head. All right, y'all. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me today. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions, and I'll be back next week with another video. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.